How did you figure out that gold was something that people have bought when nobody was talking about gold then?
I think one framework that I work with is not to know that gold is going to go up or go down. It's to find out, can I lose less and make more? Many people have not seen silver cycle. Silver scrap supply is a big spoiler. And कहीं पे मैंने लिखा है कि use silver in your portfolio like a vaccination. You can take it only in small doses and at the right time.
TCS very specifically has been continuously making a lot of commentary saying that AI is actually going to give us more business than take away more of our business.
The fact is that many of IT services company in India are IT services company. They are not technology creators. Go back to January 26. Take all the analysts and tell them that 10% of global oil production is going to go offline. What should be the price of oil? No analyst in the world would have told you that it will be $90.
Absolutely. Hi everybody, welcome to our brand new episode on the Kirtan Show. And today I have a very interesting guest. He is the only person that I know on the internet who started talking about buying into gold mining companies much before the gold rally actually started. Not just that, he was actually very kind enough to let us know that probably now gold has reached a stage where you should start booking profit. So he got you in at the right time and more importantly got you out of it much before the market understood that they should actually get out. He was the one that in 22-23, when nobody was talking about investing in the global markets, actually launched a fund to invest in global markets. And today, he thinks that probably investing in India is a much better place to be than investing in global markets. Please join me in welcoming Sahil. Sahil is the product head at DSP Mutual Fund and he is also the editor of the Netra series that DSP comes out with every month. If you're not reading it, you're actually missing out on a knowledge of information that you should also end up understanding and reading about because it's the best publication that you should actually be reading as a finance enthusiast. Sahil, thank you so much for taking the time out and being a part of this conversation. Let me just start with this. How did you figure out that gold was something that people have bought when nobody was talking about gold then?
Maybe I got lucky. I think one framework that I work with is not to know that gold is going to go up or go down or anything else is going to go up. It's to find out whether an investment makes sense. Can I lose less and make more? So do I have what is called an asymmetric payoff? If that is available, then probably we'll put some money there. The bigger the asymmetric payoff, which means, for example, if I'm going to lose 20 rupees and I'm going to gain 200, I need to put a lot of money there. If I'm going to lose 20 and make 20, then I should be away from it, right? So gold offered such a disproportionate risk reward. And we said that this is the right time. Vectors are aligned. The market for gold supply demand was in a deficit. Most other scenarios, which were more or less sideways or favorable. And one big scenario came up. So I'll tell you in 2022, we launched a gold ETF. And in that collateral, I wrote that this is the first year ever that global central banks have bought 1,000 tons of gold.
Wow.
In 2022. And this was the news in 2025 that central banks are buying gold, but they started buying in 22. And we wrote there that if this repeats the next year, this could be the beginning of a big trend, right? And that was the thesis. It played out. We were lucky that it played out. And yeah, that was the reason that we thought that gold, commands a place in the portfolio.
I think very interesting. Probably you're the only one that I read on the internet who has a framework to value gold and silver.
Yeah.
Because if somebody is asking me, how do you value gold? Is it undervalued or overvalued? I would say ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता. It's all demand and supply, right?
Yeah.
But I see you have a framework. Is it possible for you to simply explain to us what's your framework to value whether gold is undervalued or overvalued?
Sure.
So, what do you think of gold today?
True. So first thing is that we need to have a framework for everything.
Sure.
If we can't have a framework, then we are maybe speculating, trading, etc. They are not inferior or bad, but it's a different skill set, right?
Sure.
So if you want to be an investor, you need to know how to value an asset, right? So when you talk about gold, first assumption is that gold is money. Okay, and why that assumption? Because it has lasted for 5,000 years or more. So that is the first assumption. Then you need to know what is the current value of global money today. You need to know that value. That should be the value of total gold. Simple. That is
So
the
how do you
framework.
know the total value of
So
money?
for that, you take the proxy as the US dollar.
Okay.
Why the US dollar? Because that is the only legal tender in the world. So if you take 5 different currency notes, only the dollar will be accepted globally everywhere at all times. No other currency will be accepted. So you work with the dollar, look at what is the global US dollar monetary base, which is the M2. Okay, so you take that number. Currently, it's around $23 trillion.
So in simple language, what is the amount of dollars floating in the global market?
In the US.
Okay.
In the US, which is under the Federal Reserve control.
Okay.
So that number is around $23 trillion. And the total above ground stock of gold is around 7 billion troy ounce.
Okay.
So if you divide that number, you'll get something like $3,200 or so. Plus, you take half of Eurozone monetary base.
Okay.
Now, this is something technical for a lot of people. Why did I use this number? Because Eurozone is also a quasi-reserve currency, the only one which is used. Why half? Because half of it is backed by gold and dollar, so you don't need to do double counting. But the actual reason for taking it is that there is also a market called the euro-dollar market. There are a lot of dollars floating outside of US, not under the jurisdiction of Federal Reserve. That number is also upwards of 15 to 20 trillion.
Wow.
Fed stopped publishing that official number in 2005. So there is no way to correctly pinpoint what that number is. So to take a conservative approach of finding that number out, we take half of Eurozone's monetary base. That will add another $1,200 to the value of gold. So 32, 3,300 from US, 1,200 from this exercise. Roughly 4,500 is the value or fair value of gold according to this framework. So my idea was, so if you go back to 22, 23, gold was trading 50% below this fair value. And we have published literature which was published at that time. It looked stupid, right? A lot of people thought कि इसका कोई मतलब नहीं है, right?
I mean, this is common on the internet when you
क्या
give a
फर्क पड़ता है?
non-popular opinion.
ये क्या फर्क पड़ता है? ये तो it is our opinion, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. So I will repeat that. This is a framework which I made. The global market doesn't move according to it. और उसकी कोई ज़रूरत भी नहीं है किसी को इसको मानने की. It is one way to think. Right?
Sure.
So I have a very good friend Kapil in Nuvama, Kapil Gupta. He made another framework for gold. According to his framework, the price should be much higher. Right? I published it in this month's Netra.
Yeah.
That is another way to think about it. But all I am saying is today, if you look at this framework, it tells you that gold is probably fairly valued. If you see a large discount to this fair price,
Sure.
that is the time you make an attempt to enter gold, right? So it's
So
as
let's
simple
say
as that.
let's say at 4,000, 4,500, gold seems fairly valued and
Yeah.
not a big screaming buy.
Yeah.
If
So maybe you, for example, if you have a 5% long-term allocation, you stay at that allocation,
Okay,
right? And you stick with it.
very interesting.
So when it was 50% undervalued according to my framework, I'll tell you I went 38% in my portfolio in gold, silver and mining stocks
Wow.
because it was an unbelievable opportunity.
How much is it now?
3%.
Are we saying sell?
I did.
Yeah,
I
yeah, of
think
course
at the
you did,
beginning of this year, we did. There is nothing sell or buy. I think it's about how do you
Allocation.
allocate weights.
Is it very similar in case of silver? And I'll tell you why. Because I think the narrative that was built when silver was going up, that the consumption of silver is going to go up because of batteries and semiconductors and
True.
God knows what. And it shot and did what it did.
Went
And
to the
then
moon.
And now that it's down 40, 50%, nobody's talking about silver,
Correct.
right? So what's happening with silver and what's the view?
So one thing is that silver actually was more undervalued than gold when we wrote about it. In fact, I'll tell you that the first literature that we wrote about silver prices were at $22.
Oh.
When we started talking about that this is the place to be right now. And then it shot up to stratospheric levels.
126.
Yeah. And usually we've seen that commodity peaks are like equity bottoms. Right? The panic happens on the upside because people feel कि ये हाथ से निकल जाएगा.
Correct.
है ना? और इक्विटी में पैनिक नीचे होता है. तो ये दोनों ऐसे ही दिखते हैं. At this point in time, I think it is still again very close to fair valuation. Nothing significant to be made. Second is इस साल क्या हुआ है? I wrote about it 6 months ago that many people have not seen silver cycles.
Yeah.
The silver scrap supply is a big spoiler. वो बुल मार्केट में आती है और इतनी बड़ी क्वांटिटी में आती है that it hinders the bull market by a very large extent. So if you look at the current numbers, it's quite possible that in 2026, silver market deficit, which is ongoing for 5 years, could fall by 80% because the scrap supply has come back to the market and
So
demand
you're
has
saying,
gone down.
so you're saying there is so much of silver scrap available that
Yeah.
will be made available in the
It
physical
has
market,
already come in the physical
that the
market.
demand for silver, which is deficit for 5 years, that demand will reduce significantly.
Yeah, supply will go up. Yeah. Maybe demand will also reduce because investment demand can come down. Yeah, because it is very reflexive with the price. So you need to wait. And कहीं पे मैंने लिखा है कि use silver in your portfolio like a vaccination. You can take it only in small doses and at the right time. And I think most investors don't need it. नहीं
Absolutely.
चाहिए आपको पोर्टफोलियो में. जब गोल्ड ही आपका काम कर रहा है, तो if you are not seeking thrill and adventure, तो सिल्वर मत खरीदो.
Very interesting. Sorry, I started off on a wrong note because the reason for me to call you was actually to talk about global versus India today.
Yeah.
Let me go back to the main reason why
Sure.
I thought I'll invite you.
Mhm.
So in 2022, when you all launched the global fund and the
Mhm.
idea was that global markets is where you all should be,
Hmm.
what was the thought then?
Hmm.
Why has India not done very well over the last 2 years? And what's the thought now?
Sure.
Is now your thought that the new money should go to global or India, and why?
Sure. So first thing is कि 22 में जब when we launched a global innovation fund, it was specifically targeted to capture the technological changes happening at that point in time. And the reason for launching was some pockets of technology was expensive, so we launched it as a SIP fund. When the market fell, we said that this is the right time to jump in and go big. Disadvantage was global investment limits, etc., were applicable even at that point in time. But yeah, the valuation argument for global tech in October 22 was very, very compelling. right?
Okay.
And then, of course, it played out luckily. Why India did not do well? I think it's, if you go back to 2024, we repeatedly wrote about it. What did we write about? Three very specific things. A, Indian stock market valuations were at one of the highest points that we've ever seen. Right?
Sure.
NSE 500 was trading at 28 times trailing multiples. We haven't seen that for a very long period of time. Second is, does ROE justify that multiple, right? It did not. So in 2003 to 8 cycle, Indian return on equity, right? It peaked at about 22%.
Oh.
In this cycle, it peaked at 16%, much lower. And third, earnings growth, which was 20% from COVID bottom to 24, it was slowing down rapidly. Although we already knew that there is no earning revenue growth, sales growth तो था ही नहीं उस साइकिल में, 10% 12% ही था, पूरी की पूरी साइकिल efficiency gain थी, क्योंकि margins shot up significantly. So we were able to see all of them together. High valuations, ROE peaking much lower than the previous cycle, earnings growth tapering off, and no sales growth. Right? Sales growth was not picking up. So we said that this is not the right time to go be overweight stocks. And we wrote about it. Repeatedly we wrote about it. And some of those conditions I think today have normalized. Not all of them. Right? Many such pockets, overvalued pockets, continue to exist today.
Okay.
Specifically in mid and small cap space. But large caps have become much more grounded today. And therefore, I think you can now find opportunities in India. In 24, it was very tough.
So one thing that I hear from you is that in the last 2 years, valuations in India were very high, which is why India has not done well.
Yeah.
Anything else that didn't work in India's favor?
Yeah, as I said, earnings growth कम हो गया. It slowed down significantly. Sales growth नहीं आया. Many such things, for example, capex cycle pickup नहीं हुआ. Lot of companies which were sitting on handsome profits, maybe because of two reasons. यहाँ पे हम क्या कर सकते हैं, सिर्फ सोच सकते हैं कि ऐसा क्यों हुआ. अब वो सच है कि नहीं पता नहीं है. पहला रीजन था कि lot of companies which were burnt in COVID, which were burnt in IL&FS, they said that I am getting lot of profits, let me improve my balance sheet. I don't want to borrow and do capex. That is one reason, maybe the effect of the last cycle. Second could be that the consumption cycle was much slower.
Sure.
So as a businessman, I did not have the visibility of much higher sales. So मैं क्यों capex करूँगा, right? So the capex cycle did not pick up, and maybe a resultant factor was आपका वेज ग्रोथ स्लो हो गया, ओवरऑल इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी स्लो हो गया, है ना, योर ग्रोथ रेट्स
Yeah.
फेल एंड वेजेस आर नथिंग बट आउटपुट ऑफ द ओवरऑल इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी. तो ये सब नंबर्स अवेलेबल है, मैंने प्रिंट भी किए हैं. BSE 500 wage growth, which was 14% CAGR, 14 to 15%, fell in single digits.
Oh.
Right? Rural wage growth number, all these numbers are available publicly. You don't have to search for them. Google करोगे तो मिल जाएगा. So they were slowing down.
So what I hear from you is one part which is India.
Yeah.
Right? So let's say FII sold India because valuations were expensive, wage growth was not happening, consumption was not happening, capex cycle did not pick up. All of that happened. Now FII sold it. Of course, FII had to deploy that money somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you really think that because India didn't have the AI offering, which is why this money left outside of the valuation game? Or you are saying that even if AI was not available, global markets, FII would have still irrespective sold the India markets?
देखो हाइंडसाइट में मैं कुछ भी स्टोरी फिट कर सकता हूँ इसमें, है ना. ट्रूथ इज दैट आई डोंट नो व्हाट हैपेंड,
Sure.
बट आई विल गिव यू टू पर्सपेक्टिव. पहला तो FI क्या होता है. इट्स अ वर्ड व्हिच इज यूज्ड ऑन
Misused.
एवरी डे. हर रोज हम लोग यूज करते हैं FI FPI. बट इंटरेस्टिंगली आप देखोगे कि चाइना में FI नंबर रोज प्रिंट नहीं होता है. दे आर नॉट डिस्कसिंग ऑन देयर टेलीविजन की FI ने आज क्या किया. It is maybe printed quarterly and Bloomberg reports it in a 6 months period. They don't care about it. Neither is other emerging market caring about. In fact, अभी जो कॉस्पी इंडेक्स 4 गुना हो गया है, वहाँ पे FIs are net sellers.
Yeah, $80 billion of sales number
Right.
this calendar.
Second important point is कि जो FIs हैं, if let's say one guy is sitting in Singapore and the other is sitting in US, they are not calling each other as saying कि मैं FI हूँ तो मैं बेचने वाला हूँ.
Correct.
So these lenses are not the right way to think about it.
Sure.
Okay. Second important thing, there is a good possibility that some of the discretionary institution investor, now you can call them FIs or DIs or anything that you want, are more sensitive to how earnings are panning out.
Sure.
They want to be more sure about what they are buying. And to a large extent, many of big companies in India, right, where their holdings were concentrated, were seeing A, elevated valuations, B, अर्निंग ग्रोथ विच वॉज नॉट कमेंसरेट विद दैट वैल्यूएशन. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर आप इंडिया का लार्जेस्ट बैंक देखोगे और वो 4.5 टाइम प्राइस टू बुक पे चल रहा है, 20% की ग्रोथ से ग्रोथ 12 या 15% रह गई है. वाई विल यू पे 4 times? सेकेंड इंपॉर्टेंट big large private bank trading at 6 times multiple, right? Why will you pay 6 times price to book? So these numbers were bound to align. It's part of cyclicality. और वो cyclically align हो गया. एंड सेकेंड इज स्टॉक मार्केट ऐसे ही काम करती है ना. अगर 10 साल का CAGR 10% या 12% होने वाला है, तो उसमें से 8 या 10% CAGR 2-3 साल में ही आने वाला है. अब प्रॉब्लम है, हमें नहीं पता वो 2-3 साल कौन से हैं, और बाकी के साल जो है दे आर गोइंग टू मेक यू अनकंफर्टेबल. सो आई थिंक वी वर इन दैट 2-year cycle where things aligned.
So India did not benefit for the high valuations, is what I take as
Yes,
one line
that is
answer.
one of the important ingredient I think which played
Sure. But globally, a lot of money got attracted to the AI story, right?
Correct.
Of course, like you rightly mentioned, and I also read about it, that at COPSI, there was an $80 billion of foreign selling. But I think the domestic liquidity is also chasing the AI growth story there, and which is why probably the index is holding up. But the long story short is that liquidity chased the AI stocks globally. Is there a problem with the AI story now? Because at valuations that they are trading at, are they extrapolating the last 2 years of growth numbers to infinity? Is there some commonality between what is happening to probably the AI story to what happened to .com? Because I was doing a lot of reading on this aspect, and I understood that there were a lot of infrastructure companies that invested during the .com bubble.
Correct.
Where internet today is a very large theme and everybody uses internet, but there are infra companies that actually went bankrupt in investing in that story.
Absolutely.
Give us a sense of what you think of what's happening to AI right now.
It's very difficult to wrap your head around कि क्या है. तो कोई conclusive evidence नहीं है, but I'll tell you, Ramneek wrote a very beautiful piece in the recent. Ramneek Kundra is CIO of our DSP pension funds. So he wrote a good piece about NVIDIA. So he says that if you do a reverse DCF, तो आपको पता लगेगा कि NVIDIA का $100 billion revenue है इस समय. 18% से ग्रोथ होनी चाहिए, है ना, for NVIDIA to reach a $500 billion PAT in the next 10 years.
Hmm.
राइट? वो अगर वो पूरा कर लेता है तो उसकी करंट वैल्यूएशन $5.4 ट्रिलियन जस्टिफाई होंगी आज।
Okay.
अब ये नंबर कितना बड़ा है? द टोटल AI capex as of today is around $600 billion.
Hmm.
So that has to repeat by just one company, right? So it tells you that the threshold is very, very high. Whether it will be met or not, I don't know.
Hmm.
Do we bet heavily that it will be met from this price? I don't think so, right? कि आप इतना heavily उसे bet कर सकते हो? अभी नहीं. So you will take a step back, and say that कि let me see, कि valuation justify होते हैं कि नहीं. Second thing is कि ये AI जो story develop हुआ है उसमें क्या peculiarity थी कि ये valuation bubble नहीं है.
Hmm.
Maybe it is a earnings, maybe a bubble or not, I don't know, but the earnings have gone up so much that it justified the stock price growth.
Correct.
So for many of these companies, अगर आप उनका free cash flow देखोगे, तो the growth has been tremendous and it
Absolutely.
has not stopped, right?
Yeah.
So it is not without reason that these stocks have gone up.
Agree.
The only problem is that nobody
Can the earning continue?
could think that this earning growth will go on for so long. वो सोच पैदा करना इजी नहीं है. जैसे आप
Hmm.
देखोगे अप्रैल 22 में, इफ माय memory is right, Nvidia was $80 billion.
Hmm. Hmm.
From 80 billion, a company going to 5 trillion, I don't think anybody in the world can tell you that it will happen, right? So हमने ये Black Swan book थी अभी थोड़ी देर पहले. यहाँ this is the positive side of Black Swan,
Yeah.
कि
Yeah.
that you can't now sitting where we are sitting today. I wrote about it in August 25 कि ये जो AI capex है ये इतना peculiar कैसे है.
Hmm.
It has exceeded, barring the railway boom, it has exceeded the capex of every other era already. और मेरा favorite era comparison है उसमें oil and gas capex of 2013-14, the peak.
Hmm.
It had reached about 1.5% of GDP.
Wow.
And at that time, oil was $100. Nobody could speak anything else other than oil, right? And today we have far exceeded that number for AI capex. So इसका जो second level thinking है वो ये क्या है कि have we already invested too much? Okay, so maybe, okay, maybe 2 years ago you would have said maybe not. Today you could say maybe, right? So I think now I don't think it is the time to be overweight on this theme and maybe slightly more hesitant about it.
I have 2-3 questions here.
Yeah.
First, I'll talk about the last thing that you mentioned.
Yeah.
There are multiple capex cycles, and probably, except for railway, you said this is the cycle in which we've heavily invested already.
Yeah.
I was reading a report which said that up to 2030,
Hmm.
all subsections of AI put together, you will still need to put another $5.3 trillion
Trillion dollars.
dollars to be able,
600-700 बिलियन हर साल करना ही है आपको.
to be able to just survive the current pace, right? What we are currently seeing is even companies like, let's say, a Meta or a Alphabet,
They are continuing and raising their capex.
but the problem is that their debt capex is probably getting frozen in, which is why now they are selling equity to raise money,
Correct.
which the market does not like.
Hmm.
If I'm not wrong, Alphabet raised 85 billion, Meta is raising 80,
Dilution
85.
start हो गया.
तो अब अगर
तो फ्री कैश फ्लो कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो जाएगा.
करेक्ट, अब अगर आप डेट मार्केट से पैसा रेज नहीं कर पा रहे हो बिकॉज यू ऑलरेडी प्रोबेबली रेज 125-150 बिलियन, यूएस यील्ड्स आर हायर, सो यू
नहीं, डेट से रेज इसलिए नहीं करेंगे, नहीं करना चाहते. So डेट से रेज करने कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. Many of these companies have brilliant balance sheets.
करेक्ट, एब्सोल्युटली.
Right,
Then
but
why are they raising?
Many of them are
using
not still raising. They are still using their internal accruals. But I think it has become a race. Right? So I'll tell you a parallel. Parallel क्या है कि जैसे आप एक स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन है कि इंडिया में केपेक्स क्यों नहीं हो रहा है ना, मैं इससे लिंक करूंगा उसको. क्यों मैं बता रहा हूँ? बिकॉज इफ देयर इज अ बिजनेसमैन हु डजंट सी दैट हिज कैपेसिटी यूटिलाइजेशन गोज टू 80 और नया कस्टमर आ रहा है और उसको बोल रहा है कि ये मुझे माल दो नहीं तो मैं दूसरे पे चला जाऊंगा, that is the day he will say that forget everything, put capex.
Correct.
Right? I don't want my customer to go.
Correct.
AI के अंदर क्या हो रहा है? These companies know that if I don't do it, the other guy is going to take it away. So जैसे हम स्टॉक मार्केट में ग्रीड देखते हैं ना कि मार्केट ऊपर जा रहा है तो पैसा लगा देता हूं मैं, otherwise somebody else is going to make more money than me. It's the same thing which happens even in businesses, specifically for capex. So I think that component is currently in that phase.
No, fair. I agree.
Yeah.
My understanding that I want to clear is why are they not doing it using debt and why are they doing it using equity? Because
अभी तक कर पा रहे हैं इसीलिए अभी तक कर पा रहे हैं
Hmm.
therefore and I think if the race continues maybe they will utilize more resources or some of them will say that I am done, I am going to step back. ऐसा भी होता है. Some companies will say कि मुझे debt लेके नहीं करना है capex, आप लोग करो.
can it also be that probably, I mean, just thinking
Yeah.
a little loud,
Yeah.
that even they are understanding that at 30-40 times sales in terms of valuation, this is a great price to liquidate a little, and because we have such high free cash flow, we probably might buy into the stock in treasury when it falls in the future. If I'm sitting on 100 billion of balance sheet, why will I not easily raise debt and do capex if I'm so confident of the story, then letting go of equity?
Yeah.
I mean, just a little thought.
I think it is still early days. There not a lot of equity dilution has happened. दूसरा ये है कि it is much easier today, you know, to sell that story.
Yeah.
Second thing is, please don't forget that selling an overvalued equity position is much easier for
Agree.
many of these companies.
Completely
Right?
agree.
It is like free coupons. And maybe that is also one reason. And third is that we need to see the bang for the buck. कि इतना capex हो रहा है, उसके सामने revenue कितना generate हो रहा है. Right? So we'll come to know maybe in the next 12 months, 24 months that what is the pace and that will be probably the litmus test of this cycle. कि ये जो जितना भी capex किया है पिछले 2-3 साल में, as of today the revenue hasn't been as high or commensurate with the amount of capex which has been done. But जिस दिन market को समझ में आ जाएगा कि ये नहीं हो रहा है या हो रहा है, that will decide the further, you know,
Course of action.
course of action on this.
So what I understand from our conversation is, first, markets are valuing the last 2 years of earnings to probably stay perpetual for another at least 10 years and pricing it today.
Yeah, 2030 तक तो लोग estimate ले ही रहे हैं.
Right. तो
The consensus market estimate
करेक्ट, पर
is such.
जरूरी नहीं है कि इतनी तेजी से जो अर्निंग्स बढ़ी है पिछले 2 साल में वो अगले 5-10 साल भी कंटिन्यू करेगी. सो एट एनी पॉइंट इन टाइम दे फील it is not matching to the expectation, that can be a setback. Second is there is a huge capex requirement for them to be able to continue the earnings to 2030 or 35.
Correct.
So that capex number also has to be aligned with the market, which is a very large number of $5.3 trillion. And liquidity is probably a challenge, is because either you raise through debt or you raise through equity. Equity से आपने जैसे ही raise किया, we saw the market was not happy.
Correct.
They sold Alphabet, they sold Meta the day they realized that they are selling equity to buy this. I don't know why they are not doing that and moving to equity. I think in the hindsight, all of us will understand. Plus, there is a lot of liquidity that is getting sucked into the new IPOs coming in.
Correct.
SpaceX, Anthropic,
Yes.
OpenAI is also sucking away a lot of money.
Yeah.
So this looks like a situation where probably markets are discounting only good things for the sector and nothing bad can happen.
So extrapolation, of course, is happens a great deal at, you know, high levels. Peak तो नहीं पता किसी को, या it will only be known in hindsight. But yeah, when you see that markets start to extrapolate 20-25% earnings growth into perpetuity, तो आपको पता है कि this is not easy. The problem is that it happened over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
है ना, तो इसीलिए वो प्रोजेक्शन जो है अभी लगता है कि हाँ हो सकता है, राइट. सो बट इट्स नॉट वेरी इजी. सो अगर फॉर एग्जांपल अगर अ कंपनी लाइक एनवीडिया विच इज एट $5 ट्रिलियन मार्केट कैप, अगर वो 25% से अपने पैट ग्रोथ करता है जो उसके इजीली किया है उसने, और केगर दिखाता है, तो आई थिंक अराउंड 2.5-3 ईयर्स में डबलर होना चाहिए जस्ट ऑन अर्निंग्स. राइट. तो 2-2.5 साल में, मतलब 5 साल में 2 डबल कर देगा. इसका मतलब आर वी सेइंग कि $20 ट्रिलियन मार्केट कैप. So these numbers are not easy to comprehend, and that is why
4x India's GDP.
yeah, of course, and that is why a lot of, you know, focus is that are we going to miss it,
Yeah.
right? So a lot of investors would want to participate in such a huge money making machine, but question तभी आएगा कि what is that number? Is it 25? Is it 20? Is it 10? Is it 5? So अगर वो number 10 या 5 हुआ, then probably you will say कि this is too much.
Yeah. Before I move on to my next question, you told me that gold from 38 you are down to 3, gold and silver.
Yeah.
Right? Did you have an AI allocation, and do you still hold it, or you all have reduced it?
AI allocation particularly, I think it came from the global
Yeah.
portfolios. I don't have too much of it. The global stocks बहुत ज़्यादा is not a very dominant part of my portfolio, because my portfolio is not so big that I can create a massive global portfolio. But yeah, we had most of these stocks coming through one of our funds, and I continue to hold them without any changes being made. See, the idea is है कि बहुत ज़्यादा activity करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. We have to accept that we will not know many things, right? Or some allocations that you do. For example, one of the tech allocation which went through the fund that we spoke about, the 2022 fund, it was on an automatic route. वो part of the portfolio बन गया और चल रहा है. And you don't have to take the call कि मुझे exit करना है या नहीं करना है. So it continued. But yeah, am I going to put a new rupee saying that I want to participate in that trade today? No.
We are saying that the biggest differential between what happened during .com or probably what happened or what is currently happening in AI is that during probably the .com phase, not a lot of companies really had earnings,
Correct.
right?
Profitability was
It just went up on the .com or the internet story.
Yeah.
Today we see a lot of companies actually have profitability and hence the
10 such companies.
yeah,
10
and
or
hence
20. Yeah.
and hence the stocks are
It is very concentrated today.
but just playing a devil's advocate here,
Yeah.
isn't there a lot of round tripping happening here? What I mean by this is it's the same company investing in another company so that that company then has liquidity to buy services or
Partly it has happened, of course. I think a lot of people have written about it also. I think it happens in all cycles. Channel financing, it's the same trade financing. सब पुराने तरीके हैं, कुछ नए नहीं है. It happens, but you can't say that the whole edifice is false.
okay,
Right? Of course, there will be, part of it will be through this channel, but पूरा zero नहीं है, ऐसा नहीं है. So there is of course a real boom which has happened. We know, see, semiconductors या जो chips हैं, वो है तो commodity.
absolutely
It's a commodity business. It's not
cyclical at the end of the day.
सबसे बड़ा पैसा इस साइकिल में कमोडिटी में बना है.
Correct, absolutely.
है ना, जो अभी जो टेक्नोलॉजिकल चेंजेस से पैसा बनने की एक्सपेक्टेशन है, दैट विल बी मेड बाय टेक्नोलॉजी कंपनीज, not by semiconductor companies. Lot of money has been made by semiconductor companies, right? Which are nothing but chips and mostly technology, mostly commodity stuff, right? .com era में profitability तक पहुंचा ही नहीं. It was more expectation or over capacity of optic fiber etc. was built much ahead of time, right? Maybe already शायद हमारे इस केस में भी over capacity हो चुकी है.
We'll only understand in hindsight.
Yeah, only one signal that you could see was that even memory, DRAM, HBM etc. उनके prices जो हैं वो 8-10 गुना बढ़ गए
Absolutely.
पिछले 6 से 10 महीने में. So these are all usually the fag end type of stuff which happens in cycles.
So if your new money does not go to the AI story, where is it going?
There are a lot of global opportunities, right? कुछ पुराने beaten down sectors हैं, apparels हैं, banking stocks हैं, globally, which are exceedingly at mouth-watering valuations. तो वहाँ focus होना चाहिए. Healthcare sector है, जहाँ पे बहुत opportunities हैं globally. So for example,
suppose if
there are.
I have to ask you India global.
Yeah.
Suppose if you have 100 rupees today to invest. First, at a macro level, how do you allocate how much India, how much global, and then if at all, we can talk about some sectors.
So I'll tell you how I frame this in my own mind. First is that जो portfolios हैं, they are not made up of countries.
Sure.
So one filtration that we can do is that I'll say that I don't want a particular country beyond 30-40%, whatever. That is your personal filter based on your own comfort. But the more important filter is that portfolios, equity portfolios are made by companies.
Sure. Bottom up.
What we own, right? So do we want to own good, great companies of the world and of India? The answer is yes.
Okay.
And therefore, you should always have a diversified portfolio. So it is not India versus the world.
Okay.
So if we forego this framing कि मुझे इंडिया खरीदना है global, I think we'll be better off.
Okay.
कोई competition नहीं है.
ठीक है.
So for example, if I want to buy an apparel maker, if I want to buy a Puma or a Nike or an Anta, I can't get it in India, right? तो इंडिया का तो कोई ब्रांड 1000 करोड़ से ऊपर नहीं है. So if I want to participate, I will have to go outside, right? So that is one way to think about it. It will also give me some protection against currency.
Sure.
Right? So second thing is, I want to buy more of what is valued cheaply today, right? If I can find large, investment opportunities domestically, then why not?
So if I may ask, what in domestic?
I think domestically you now have roughly between 40 to 50% of market cap where you can find opportunities.
Okay.
So, for example, 30% is BFSI, a very large market cap. Look at the top large cap banks today, right? 1.7, 1.8 टाइम प्राइस टू बुक पे ट्रेड हो रहे हैं.
I think COVID valuations.
14-15% का ROE करते हैं वो, और अभी भी कर रहे हैं. 15% का अर्निंग्स ग्रोथ है. एसेट क्वालिटी इज बेस्ट इन 2 to 3 decades. तो क्या चाहिए और मतलब यू डोंट नीड रॉकेट साइंस टू थिंक अबाउट that we are better off, buying some of these stuff.
Sure.
The only problem is the return expectation. I think that is where we've got it wrong. A lot of people believe कि मुझे 25-30% बनाना है. Right? If your return expectation is so high, then you are probably going to go after some, rosy, glorious future stories. But if the return expectation is grounded in reality, it's a very good space to be in. Right? Similarly, you will find a lot of bets in IT. Of course, there is debatable कि AI का क्या impact होगा. But lot of large companies doing ROICs of 40-50% are available at 15 time trailing earnings.
Yeah, but the problem is the understanding whether they'll be able to continue it in the future or not. Trail, I understand the
So imagine that
valuation
if the
metrics.
answer to this question was yes, they will be able to, will they trade at 15 times?
Oh, then
They
it's
will
a
not.
then it's a mouth watering.
They will not. I'm
Yeah.
saying they will not. So if we knew that they're going to transition and gain from AI, etc., why will they sell at 15 times, right?
But do you think that even if with a fog around you saying that you don't have a clarity, these are great valuations to buy these companies?
देखो जैसे fog of war होता है ना, वैसे ही fog of bear market होता है. It doesn't allow you to think straight.
Yeah.
तो आप क्या देखते हो? You look for signs. जब एक धंधा खराब होने वाला होता है तो उसके क्या साइंस होते हैं? सबसे पहला साइन होता है कि रेवेन्यू ग्रोथ खत्म हो जाती है या डीग्रो होने लगती है ना? तो आईटी कंपनीज की रेवेन्यू ग्रोथ में प्रॉब्लम आ गया ऑलरेडी. वी हैव सीन दैट सम ऑफ देम आर रिपोर्ट, बट नॉट डीग्रोन सिग्निफिकेंटली, बट लेवल अप हो चुकी है. जो पहले नंबर से उससे स्लो हो गई है. सेकेंड एंड मोर डेफिनेटिव साइन ऑफ अ बिजनेस अंडरगोइंग प्रॉब्लम is margin compression.
Correct.
That if I'm a businessman, I'm not able to make money, what I'll do is कि मैं सस्ते में काम करूँगा. That has not happened for the IT sector at all, right? Third, of course, for this sector specifically is hiring. तो hiring अभी नहीं हो रहा है. Lot of companies are saying कि हम hiring नहीं करेंगे. But if you look at the full data picture from COVID to now and normalize the bench strength, you will see that nothing major has happened. कुछ earth shattering नहीं हुआ है. पहले there came a wave of massive hiring and then they did not need so much people.
Yeah.
So back in 2021-22 the phrasing was कि अभी work from home है और टेक के अलावा कुछ चाहिए ही नहीं दुनिया को. So these companies are at 45 times.
Correct.
अभी उसका उल्टा है ना कि doomsday.
Yeah.
So but reality is in between. वो भी real नहीं था, maybe ये भी real नहीं है. So therefore you take a conscious valuation call and you say that yeah, I'm going to allocate some of my money to some of these companies. They are very hard to recreate, right? And then let's see what happens over a period of 3
I
to
think
5 years.
TCS very specifically has been continuously making a lot of commentary saying that AI is actually going to give us more business than take away more of our business.
Yeah.
But one unfortunate part in this entire IT space in India is that they've been sitting on so much of reserves and cash flow, but they've never invested in R&D. Whether somebody like me would have thought that they could have easily bought out some smaller AI companies or invested, but all they end up doing is give out dividends, do buybacks. Is it something that they don't understand or we are not understanding?
So
as
I'll tell you
investors?
how I think about it is, for example, think about a food delivery business. है ना? उसका काम क्या? Service है. He's delivering something to your home, but suddenly there is a boom and a new technology, let's say, which allows you to travel from point A to point B in an instant. या hyperloop create हो गया. Now we are questioning that company कि तुम तो रोज जाते हो इस रास्ते पे, तुमने hyperloop क्यों नहीं बनाया? The fact is that many of IT services company in India are IT services companies. They are not technology creators. Forever. That's been the case for a very long time, for decades.
Yeah.
Their key job is IT services, right? So therefore, maybe by luck or diversification, they would have entered and created some value out of AI. Maybe that was possible. Sometime back, we had some flavor of that happening, but it did not occur. But I think repeatedly in many cycles, markets have punished companies which step out of their line. है ना? They will say that आपका तो ये धंधा है, आप उसमें क्यों जा रहे हो? And if it doesn't pan out, then that stock goes through a 10-year bad phase. right? And we have many examples right now happening.
Very
Right.
interesting perspective.
Right in the market right now, there are stocks in the FMCG space which stepped out of what they do and they've been punished significantly. But we don't apply that lens to IT services.
I think it's again hindsight.
So part of it is of course hindsight, and what my explanation is also hindsight, right?
Yeah.
Maybe some of these guys would have said ki we are so close to what is happening, why can't we participate, right? This is one argument.
Yeah, because I think, let's say if we take the Vishal Sikka case, right? I think that was a very, very small investment that Infosys had to do in 2013-14, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Would have that small, if I'm not wrong with the number, was 1 billion.
Correct.
That 1 billion would have been more than the value of entire Infosys put
It
together.
would have been amazing. But think about it that
if it did go well.
maybe one of the smartest guys in technology space over the last 4 or 5 decades, Mr. Son of SoftBank, he sold Nvidia just before
the rally
it became the biggest stock in the world, right?
Yeah.
A guy who had access and who could see this happening from the front seat. Right? So I think a lot of it is hindsight.
I think very interesting.
Right. So we are mere mortals, and some of us who are on the social media, we have the right to write about anything.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to see this. And usually I do a very good experiment with my internal team and other people. So it's a thought experiment. So if you ask today, think about 5 global companies that you can invest today, but you cannot sell them for the next 20 years. Okay, think about any 5 names. The interesting answer to this question is that 90% of people give all 5 names from technology.
Wow.
But had you done this exercise in 2005, 90% of people would have given answer from oil and gas.
Correct. Because that's the cycle that plays.
So we don't know, what is going to happen in the next 20 years. And maybe in the next 20 years, some other sectors will become the dominant sectors. Maybe it is not technology, maybe it is something else. I don't know what it is, right? I have no idea. Maybe it is healthcare, right? Who knows? So that is the lens to think about. So hindsight to easy hai. So can't
very
rely on
interesting.
it.
So what I hear you on India is banks, IT.
Yeah.
Is it pharma also?
Yeah, it was, but now valuations have run up a bit. But
Hospitals
I think it is still a mid-cycle story. I think it is still developing over a period of time. And also, certainly, I also think that people should think about where will be the biggest impact of AI. अभी discussions IT और इन सब पे है. Another lens to think about is कि उसके user कौन है.
Exactly. Also, will I be wrong if I say that the next leg up is going to be people who are able to use AI to be able to do well in their business? Isn't that story supposed to play out?
Yeah, some of the businesses are already talking about it, some NBFCs, others.
Yeah.
But one thing that I think about, it may be wrong, of course, time will tell, is that welfare sectors, which is education, law and order, and healthcare, they could be big beneficiaries, right? If this thing even stays where it is right now. कि AI से AGI नहीं भी बनेगा, तो even in the current avatar, it can have a lot of use cases. For example, think about Indian pharma. What separates Indian pharma from big pharma? Our ability to do R&D and launch drugs. अभी drug launching में भी 3 पार्ट है कि आपने drug बनाया और ट्रायल किया. तो ट्रायल करना आसान नहीं है, वो शायद हम अभी भी नहीं कर सकते. बट ये जो 100 रुपए का वैल्यू चेन है, उसमें ट्रायल टेस्टिंग एंड लॉन्चिंग इज द 70-75% ऑफ द. बट जो पहला 20-25% है, that AI can solve for Indian big pharma rapidly. And in some segments, that is a bigger pie, not just 20, maybe 30-40%. And just by doing some inorganic acquisition, wet labs, in some smaller companies, they can level up this game very, very fast. Right? So, ये ऐसे कुछ use cases बन सकते हैं in some of these sectors, which we should think about, rather than thinking about कि what will lose a lot. For example, IT services sector, वो already 15 time पे है.
Correct.
Right? So, we should be thinking about other use cases also.
Is the industry already thinking about it with Sun Pharma doing such a big acquisition?
Maybe, of course. I think मैंने ऐसा सोचा है कि जो भी थॉट आपके दिमाग में आता है इन्वेस्टमेंट को लेके, कोई ऑलरेडी उस पर इन्वेस्ट कर चुका है दुनिया में. सो वी विल नेवर बी द फर्स्ट वन, ऑफ कोर्स. वी विल ओनली डिस्कवर थिंग्स लेटर. बट व्हाई नॉट?
So maybe pharma selective is what I hear from.
Yeah. I think bottoms up, some really smart managers will be able to figure out who is going to be the big beneficiary. मेरा तरीका क्या है that you accept that you are not too smart and you be diversified, right? And you have that appropriate weightage
Anywhere else you are diversifying in India?
Specifically, I think one of the opportunities that I've seen and have over the last 3 to 6 months developed is the Indian GSEC.
Oh, wow.
I think long duration appears to be a very, very hard investment to make, but I think it's fruitful. And some of the reasons that I see is our growth has slowed down. Nominal growth जो 10-12% थी 8 से 10% हो गई है. There is no reason for rates to stay at 7-7.5%.
Okay.
Right? They have to be lower.
They'll come down.
Or growth has to go up to 10,
Sure.
12, 13%. Second is government borrowing, which had gone up significantly post-COVID. वो normalize हो गई है अभी. Give or take oil shock etc. बहुत ज़्यादा borrowing नहीं हो रही है अभी वहाँ पे. So which is contained to a very large extent. तीसरा आरबीआई के रेपो रेट में और टर्म प्रीमियम जो है 10 ईयर का 175, 180, 190 बिप्स भी था. सो सफिशिएंट अमाउंट ऑफ टर्म प्रीमियम इज अवेलेबल फॉर इन्वेस्टर्स टू इन्वेस्ट. और तीसरा अगर आपको बॉन्ड 7-7.5% दे रहा है ना टैक्स एफिशिएंट बैन राइट. और अगर आप स्टॉक्स खरीदते हो 25 टाइम पे 16% की आरओई पे और अर्निंग ग्रोथ ही 10% है तो द ट्रेड ऑफ इज नॉट वेरी डिफरेंट राइट. योर so therefore it becomes a very attractive proposition to park your money, and I think for the last 3 to 6 months I've stuck with it and been in that bracket.
But do you think that investors who hear us and are looking at GSEC will have some volatility in the next 2 quarters, because this
They can.
does not seem to be
A
a very
consensus item.
it does not seem to be a very immediate falling in place kind of a
हो रहा है अभी with all the measures that were announced last week on FCNRB etc. Some of the pain that we've seen for GSEC came from global outflows, right? So part of it is getting addressed. So अभी जल्दी होगा या नहीं होगा anybody's guess.
But then, just a devil's advocate,
Hmm.
I think with 2.5% difference between a US 10-year and a India 10-year, with currency depreciating at 4%, I might as well do a US 10-year, right?
But आप ये सोचो कि इंडिया और यूएस का इन्फ्लेशन डिफरेंशियल कितना लास्ट 12 महीने में. 50 bips in favor of India. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Right? So when we think about all these numbers, we forget that US is also running a fiscal deficit which is bigger than India.
Yeah.
We are running a smaller deficit than them, right? So of course, see, currencies are not priced in what we do. It is they are priced in what our competition does.
Correct.
Our trade partners do, right? So it's not very easy way to think about these fluctuations in interest rates and currencies. But my guess is कि जो factors which dominate the India GSEC market, most of them are benign. तो आप ऐसा सोचो कि ये पहला expected oil trouble है. अभी तो हुआ ही नहीं है, but narrative में हो गया कि that a crisis has happened. Already numbers में नहीं आया है. But this is the first time that Indian GSEC yields have not shot up significantly. You go back to any crisis, they've gone up significantly in each one of them. So this is the first time that they have shown much more resilience.
But can I also say that, of course, the yields went down much before the rate cuts started happening. But 125 bips of rate cut, when it started happening, yields didn't go down at all.
Correct.
Um,
So pass on नहीं हुआ है वो. And
हाँ.
see, we've seen this repeatedly. If you go back and see in the bond market, so for example, from 2004 to or 5 to 7, US Fed raised US rates from 1% to 5%. US 10-year yield did not go up by 10 basis point also.
oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's a fallacy to think that central banks can influence interest rate cycle significantly unless they start using unconventional policy measures also. Right. So it's not very easy. Central banks are changing the short end of the curve, the overnight curve.
Correct. They're not
Overnight.
changing the 10-year.
They can, for example, a BOJ
Of
trying to
course.
implement,
Of course.
yield curve control measures, but of course they can try to influence, right? They cannot completely influence. So therefore, I think these changes in yields are as deceptive and difficult to think about as the stock market. कोई ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं. जैसे हमें नहीं पता कि निफ्टी 10% ऊपर जाएगा नीचे. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
And same is the case with yields also.
I think you made two interesting points. One on the currency, another on trade partners deciding
Yeah.
where a lot of macros in India will look like.
Yeah.
I want to touch upon both of them. Let me
Sure.
start with the trade partner first.
Sure.
I think it was such a large expectation that our balance of payment will show a deficit of 50 billion because of FIIs going away and
Correct.
FPIs will come out to be net big negative.
Hmm.
I was so surprised when I looked at the 23.6 number. In fact, if I'm not wrong, the FPI side actually turned out to be 1 billion positive than negative.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
What's happening if you could
So
break
if
down?
you, but that was only the trouble started in the let's say April May period, which is not part of this
Not
data,
part of this. Okay.
right? So वो अभी तक दिखा नहीं है डेटा में
तो
पूरे
लास्ट
तरीके
ईयर
से.
भी तो 2.5 लाख करोड़ की सेलिंग
एफआई
थी.
सेलिंग है, हाँ,
हाँ.
जो अगर आप देखोगे आई थिंक इक्विटी सेलिंग वाज द डोमिनेंट पार्ट, बट उसका काफी सारा सेलिंग अप्रैल मई में भी हुआ है.
हम्म.
तो उसमें थोड़ा हमारा जो रीसेंट डेटा है वो कैप्चर नहीं हुआ
Okay.
है. सो दैट इज वन पार्ट. सेकेंड इज दैट there is also an FDI number which was positive for last year to the tune of 6.9 billion inflow था वो, right? उससे पहले साल में only 1 billion it was there. FY26 ended at 6.9 billion, so provided a little bit of cushion. Second is I'll tell you the numbers. थोड़े stats हैं, maybe difficult to digest, but where they are very important.
Sure.
तो India runs a very large trade deficit.
Correct.
कुछ $337 billion था last year. ये goods trade deficit है. जब हम oil और phones or whatever we are importing, all the goods that we import, apparels, etc. उसके सामने we run a very large surplus on services, IT services, GCC, etc. तो वो जो services का surplus है और साथ में जो surplus हम तकरीबन $216 billion का surplus
Okay.
services का, साथ में remittance जो private transfer हमें पैसा आ रहा है वो भी तकरीबन 140 billion है. These two items put together are bigger than what we import. So
इसलिए positive दिख.
so currently the current account is not a problem because services and remittances are more than offsetting what we import.
For people who not understand, services आप IT कंपनीज आप
IT
सर्विसेज
companies
बेच
हैं,
रहे हो,
correct.
उससे पैसा आ रहा है.
Correct.
और रेमिटेंस में जो NRIs बाहर है वो भी आपको पैसा भेज रहे, तो वो आपको डॉलर आ रहा है.
इसको याद रखने का बहुत अच्छा
और
तरीका
उसके
है.
सामने आप $300 बिलियन दे रहे हो क्योंकि आप
इंपोर्ट कर रहे हो,
कुछ इंपोर्ट कर रहे हो.
ऑयल
तो
इंपोर्ट
हाँ.
कर रहे हो. या इसको जो रेमिटेंस का पार्ट है उसको याद करने का क्या तरीका है? यूजुअली आई फ्रेम इट इन माय माइंड दैट one of the most important and biggest export item in India is people. They go out and send us money, right? Which is remittances. So it balances our balance of payment beautifully. So current account जो है वो तकरीबन इससे मैनेज हो रहा है. इस बार ट्रबल कहाँ आई है? कैपिटल अकाउंट में. कैपिटल अकाउंट में क्यों आई है? बिकॉज फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर्स.
कैपिटल अकाउंट क्या होता है प्लीज?
सो बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट जो है वो बैलेंस है. उसमें दो मेजर अकाउंट है. करंट अकाउंट जहाँ पे गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज हो रहा है, कैपिटल अकाउंट जहाँ पे फाइनेंशियल डीलिंग हो रही है, इन्वेस्टमेंट्स हो रही है. दो अलग अलग अकाउंट है. अब ब्यूटी क्या है कि अगर आप करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट रन करते हो तो क्योंकि बैलेंस है तो मैथमेटिकली आप कैपिटल अकाउंट सरप्लस रन करोगे. तो लॉट ऑफ पीपल से कि इंडिया करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट क्यों रन करता है? अगर वो डेफिसिट रन करता रहेगा तो हमारी ग्रोथ कहाँ से होगी या करेंसी प्रॉब्लम आएगी. बट फॉर अ इकोनॉमी विच इज ग्रोइंग, इट इज गोइंग टू रन अ करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट बिकॉज वी वांट इंटरनेशनल कैपिटल.
करेक्ट.
तो हम ऐसा नहीं बोल सकते कि मुझे फॉरेन इनफ्लो भी चाहिए लेकिन मेरे को डेफिसिट भी नहीं चाहिए. इट्स इलॉजिकल, राइट? सो देयरफॉर इस बार क्या हुआ है? कैपिटल अकाउंट गॉट कॉम्प्रोमाइज बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ फॉरेन मनी फ्लू आउट. I explained it. In fact, मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago to be precise, we wrote about that all conducive conditions for foreigners to sell equity are present. It's there in one of the Netra publication that we did. Valuations were high, currency was overvalued, they were getting easy exits from where they were owning because they were owning for a very long period of time, right? And plus, lot of Indian companies were also looking to invest globally.
Yeah.
So there were conducive conditions, right? Today, I think those conditions have flipped.
Yeah, because the RER also is
Yes, it has gone below.
6-7% undervalued, right?
So I wrote about it about I think 2 to 3 weeks ago, saying कि India RER is now below 90. अगर आप terms of trade भी देखो, तो जो
Sorry, RER क्या है if at all?
So basically, when you are comparing, let's say, India with all the trade partners जिनसे हम import और export करते हैं, तो जब हम हमारा एक्सचेंज रेट जब आप 95 देखते हो, आप उसको इन्फ्लेशन के लिए एडजस्ट करते हो हर एक ट्रेड पार्टनर के साथ, है ना? और तब बोलते हो कि क्या मैं ओवर वैल्यूड या अंडर वैल्यूड हूँ. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर
हिसाब से
हम
अंडरवैल्यूड बाय 7%.
हाँ, अंडर वैल्यूड थोड़ा हार्ड टर्म है यूज करने का. RER एक सिर्फ एक तरह का मेजर है. इट्स नॉट एब्सोल्यूट, राइट? तो ऐसा नहीं है कि आप बोल सकते जस्ट लाइक सेइंग कि पहले PE 20 था अभी 18 है तो मैं अंडर वैल्यू. ऐसा नहीं. मे बी यू आर अंडर वैल्यूड बट इट्स नॉट एब्सोल्यूट, राइट? सो इट गिव्स यू सम मोर कंफर्ट इन टर्म्स ऑफ योर ट्रेडिंग पार्टनर्स. सो वहां पे ऑलरेडी रियर इज बिलो 90. Last time it is actually below 8. It was below 88 in May. Last time we went to 83, 84 was in 2013 and global financial crisis,
Oh, okay.
right? Or surprising fact here hai that you went to this level when your inflation was benign, interest rates were stable, there was geopolitical stability, democratic stability in the country,
Wow.
balance sheet strength. Currently, you have the strongest balance sheets for corporate India in over 40 years.
Wow.
Okay, and even Government of India balance sheet is fine. I won't say it is in pink of health, but it's not deteriorating to a very large extent. It is actually in a repair cycle over a period of time. In that setup, you've gone to a 90-year, largely because partly I could say that there is also a FOMO trade playing out, right? Where a lot of global investors. So earlier I used to call them tourist dollars. There is a very large chunk of global money
Yeah.
which is
Hot
short
money.
term oriented
Hot money.
and it goes from place to place, right? It goes from place to place, maybe collectively or no, but a lot of that money has gone to pockets which are showing earning growth, promise of future, new stories and narratives. But वहाँ पे गया है वो. So that caused maybe some amount of exit. But investors should not forget that I did an exercise where I wrote that if you look at US market, S&P 500, almost 39% of S&P 500 companies as of today in US, they do a ROE of more than 20%. High quality businesses are available for investors to choose from. Globally, who's the second guy? Second country where such a condition is available, it is India.
Oh.
So if you look at Nifty 500 companies, 33% of them have a ROE of more than 20%.
Oh.
Right? So second important point, look at the variability in profits. So I did an exercise looking at how volatile are profits of corporations in India, in Korea, in China, etc. So the least volatile profitability globally is of India among emerging markets. Right? So not only the ROEs are higher, profitability is also
Less volatile.
less volatile. So that tells you कि opportunity तो आपको मिलेगा ही यहाँ पे. But of course there will be cycles where people will prefer, more volatile, quick profit things, which are also available, right? तो वो अभी दिख रहे हैं. So I think that was also one reason where this BOP mismatch happened on the capital account because of the FDI, FPI outflow.
So you think that with all the measures that RBI is coming out with, plus rupee being undervalued, the path for depreciation will slow down over the next 2-3 years? Because in the last 2 years, rupee
हो सकता है, sir,
depreciated
हो सकता है.
18%.
I would say it is possible because I think if you take REAR or there are other measures also, BEAR and other, continuing 4% depreciation is going to be hard unless your economic fundamentals deteriorate further. Appreciate होगा कि नहीं मुझे नहीं पता, right? Maybe most likely central bank will step in and build reserves if we get reserves or if we get inflows. तो वो कहना बहुत मुश्किल है. But yeah, the pace of depreciation that we've seen, I will not bet on that pace continuing in the next 12 to 24 months. That is what I think about the currency where we stand today.
I think if it continues of what it did in the last 2 years, we'll depreciate at 9-10% a year.
Yeah, of course. So that looks less likely to me.
Yeah.
But of course, anything is possible, right? In the world, you can't build all scenarios. But दूसरा यही है कि जो measures अभी लिए गए हैं, I think they are initial measures.
Yeah.
They are small measures. And I would prefer that regulators take incrementally small measures as of now. Why do I say that? We are not in a full-blown crisis.
Yeah.
तो ammunition अभी use नहीं कर देना चाहिए.
Absolutely.
So there is a lot of narrative about oil going to 150, but गया तो नहीं है ना. So
I mean, I'm surprised with 100 days to the war, Strait of Hormuz being such a large player in the commute of global oil commodity, and still you have oil not staying above 100.
absolutely.
I think that in itself tells you that this is not a crisis that the internet is talking about, right?
मैंने अपना career शुरू किया था. I was a oil and gas
Yeah, I
metals
know.
analyst,
Mm.
commodity analyst. Okay, so I'll tell you that go back to January 26. Take all the analysts that you know of, the smart ones and other types, and tell them that 10% of global oil production is going to go offline. What should be the price of oil? 100 days into such a conflict. no analyst in the world would have told you that it will be $90 or $100.
Absolutely.
It's not possible. And therefore, I believe that this business of forecasting and prediction and saying this will happen and therefore that will happen is fraught with risk. Because कुछ नया कहाँ से निकल के आ जाता है हमें कभी मालूम नहीं चलता है. We never know. And in fact, in markets are very forgetful. Specifically when the events are short term in nature.
Yeah.
जैसे कोविड के टाइम पे मार्च 2020 में मार्केट्स बॉटम्ड आउट एंड बाय मार्च 21 और जून 21 nobody had any idea whether they are going to survive or businesses are going to survive.
Yeah.
Right? But markets went on their own. And same is the case with maybe oil in this cycle. It peaked on 11th March, I think, at $120. और वो तब से गिर ही रहा है मतलब I mean.
So can we largely say that ideally the currency depreciation in India is actually an FPI problem than anything else, because oil is not such a big problem. Balance of payment does not look like, if you remove FPI aside, does not look like such a big problem. So the currency
कैपिटल अकाउंट इशू हुआ है इस साइकिल में.
currency is actually depreciated only because of FPI largely in that case, right? And it
does
is more
appear
of
so.
more of trading bets which are negative rupee or positive dollar at this
Yeah,
point in time.
it's all about capital account in this cycle, so to speak. But yeah, of course, it can flip anytime, right?
Yeah.
It can flip anytime. It is so. मैं सुबह एक डेटा देख रहा था आज. From the bottom of global financial crisis to September 24, where Nifty peaked.
Huh.
Nifty did a 11.8% dollar CAGR. Just Nifty.
Okay.
And if you compare it to Kospi, it did about 6.9% CAGR. Same time frame.
5% alpha.
Yeah, 5% alpha. But if you take the full cycle till today, from COVID bottom,
Would have reversed.
India 9.2 हो जाता है 11.8 से और Korea 12.2 हो जाता है.
Wow.
So 5% of India's outperformance becomes 3% underperformance. That is how fast things can change. और अभी आप लॉन्ग टर्म डेटा देखोगे तो आपको लगेगा कि इंडिया तो आउटपरफॉर्म करता ही नहीं है.
पर वो तो रिवर्स भी उतना ही जल्दी हो सकता है.
सो ये जो शॉर्ट टर्म चेंजेस हैं, सो फॉर एग्जांपल टुडे वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट FI flows being negative, etc. Just 1 or 2 months of changes can cause such a dramatic change in aggregate numbers.
I think if I have to summarize what you just said,
Yeah.
correct me if I have got this correct. You are saying that if you look at 15-year cycle,
Yeah.
India had a 5%
Alpha.
outperformance versus COPSI,
Yeah.
which is South
Korean
Korea.
index. Yeah.
But because of the last 2 years, so if I look at the 17-year cycle, India is a 3% underperformance,
Correct.
which means 2 years of performance
Has taken away 8% CAGR.
changed 8% CAGR for 17 years of data.
Absolutely.
And which is why I keep telling people in general also that if you look at data from point to point, you don't understand how much of the near-term performance is impacting the long-term.
Absolutely.
It does not show you the consistency in point to point.
But I will say that it's a good thing because a lot of people, when they look at this data, they will give you opportunities, right? Because they will make the mistake of thinking that this is the long term.
Yeah.
But it's not, right? When you want to look at the long term data, you will maybe dissect it more. You will look at maybe more rolling numbers.
Yeah.
You will look at more normalizations before you come to any conclusion. And in most of those conclusions, you will see that data has very, very different outcomes.
Awesome. Sahil, if I have to just kind of summarize whatever we've spoken, and correct me if my takeaway from what you said is anything different than
Sure.
what you actually said,
Yeah.
is that probably at this point in time, there is no sense in putting more money to AI because market probably is extrapolating the earnings growth that has happened over the last 2 years to continue for the next 5 or 10 years, which may not happen because you don't know which way the capex cycle will actually
Correct.
move.
So be hesitant about it.
Yeah. Second, what I hear from you is that India valuations have become decently better, at least in the large cap space.
In pockets. Absolutely.
And in pockets, because 40-45% of the market cap today is available at a reasonable
Decent value.
valuation.
Yeah.
Probably private bank looks interesting, IT looks interesting, pharma looks interesting.
Some discretionary also, like in autos, you have a number of opportunities. Some
Awesome.
of the large two-wheeler companies trading at 14-15 times multiples.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So this space looks interesting in India. Gold and silver specifically, probably looks fairly valued. It's not a thumping buy that you want to go out and buy
You want to be
everything.
fence sitters.
You want to be fence sitters there. And what I also understand is that rupee probably looks undervalued by 7-8%. So the depreciation of rupee over the next 3-4 years will be very paced out, very slow.
Yeah,
Uh,
that could be
and
the-
it looks
I don't know the
undervalued.
exact number. Maybe I don't
course.
know what that number is, 7-8% or 0%. I have no idea. But I think one way to participate in that is to India GSEC. I think that is a good place to be.
Awesome. I have done some interviews. I will not say that I've done a lot, but the kind of data points and inputs that I've received on multiple factors or multiple assets have not been as better as this one. Of
Mm.
course, anybody who's watching us, if that guy is very new to investing, may not understand everything that we've spoken. But I would sincerely suggest that if somebody is watching us and have not really understood a lot of things that we've discussed, to rewind and watch it again and Google or ask me in the comment section, or some things that you said or I said they've not understand. I'll try and answer those questions. But it's been a pleasure to have you.
But my one submission would be, Kirtan, that to all the viewers who are watching, don't believe what I'm saying. You go and see the facts
Yeah.
and then decide. Maybe when you look
Yeah.
at the facts, your interpretation will be opposite to what my interpretation is, which is fine, right? But be hesitant about being very, very predictive or, glued to one opinion.
No, but I love the way you humble yourself and are very cognizant of the fact to accept that you got at least the last 2-3 years of cycle really well. And I appreciate you for that. And I'm hoping that a lot of people who are watching us will really appreciate the kind of depth of understanding that you have across cycles and across assets.
Thank
Could not have been a better chat. Sahil, thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank you very much.
And you were great, and I ended up learning a lot of things from you.
Thank you.
And I'm
My
hoping
pleasure.
that I see you quite often again. Wherever I get stuck and I need some understanding, I'll trouble you to be a part of
Definitely,
this
definitely.
podcast.
Very happy to do it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.